And that's our introduction for today. Hello, and hopefully everyone is having a beautiful and wonderful day today. And welcome to another Q Source call with our beloved Q. All right, everybody, take a huge deep breath in and relax. It's so nice to be here with all of you. And of course, with Source Q. And I'm not going to mention the date because it kind of confuses people on the archives, but I would like to say thank you for being patient with a little bit of interference that we had yesterday with connecting on BBS. So let's, without any further delay, let's go ahead and bring in our beloved Q.
Great day to you, Jane. After that breath work, I think we should just all take a nap.
No, not right now, please.
What else is there to do? I mean, there's nothing to talk about, clearly.
Well, how about we start with music? Your music.
Music. It's like giving a dog a little morsel. You just can't get enough.
No, we can't.
Thank you. I've always wanted my own show. Now I got it. It's great. Jane, thank you so much for all you do to facilitate these things. And let's give her a go here.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you.
Open up your mind and let me step inside. Rest your weary head and let your heart decide. It's so easy when you know the rules. It's so easy. All you have to do is fall in love. Play the game, everybody. Play the game of love. Yeah. When you're feeling down and your resistance is low, and let yourself go. This is your life. Don't play hard to get. It's a free world. All you have to do is fall in love. Play the game. Everybody, play the game of love. Yeah. My game of love has just begun. Love runs from my head down to my toes. My love is pumping through my veins. Play the game. It's driving me insane. Come play the game. Play the game. Play the game. Play the game of love. Everybody, play the game of love. This is your life. Don't play hard to get. It's a free world. All you have to do is fall in love. All you have to do is fall in love. Don't play hard to get. It's a free world. All you have to do is fall in love. Play the game, everybody. Play the game of love. Hope that's a good start. That was Mr. Freddie Mercury of Queen. Anybody there?
I put myself on mute so I could listen, so we could all listen without any interruption. That was so beautiful, Q. That's a beautiful start, the game of love and falling in love with the game. And this is today, playing the game, and you are here to talk about the big games.
Well, like I said, I didn't think there's anything to talk about. If we're just coming from a place of love, then we're already there now, aren't we?
Well, we could use some.
Okay, wait a minute. Did I lose you already and we just started? Wow.
Thank you.
So you prepared for nothing today is what you told me. So it's all on me, is it?
It is.
I just don't think there's anything to talk about. Now, we've covered it all, haven't we?
Not quite.
All right. Okay, I've prepared a little bit of information, but as usual, I would request that you jump in and pull me a little bit when you're inspired, because it's really fun for me to get another perspective with our understandings, overstandings, let's say, communication with what I'm calling a linguistical nightmare, but let's do our best. With great encouragement and great passion, with great love for everyone who will listen to me today, tomorrow, in the future. Again, take everything I have to say as just information. And you'll either believe the information or you'll either know the information. And that's the title of this show for me today, will be the difference and the delta between believing and knowing. And as I get through multiple calls from secret soldiers, military veterans, medical veterans, et cetera, I'm getting a great education on the difference in many individuals' eyes, the difference between believing something and knowing something. And believe it or not, that is the solution. And what I encourage everybody to pay attention to today is I want to make sure you leave with something you can use, because it gets a little tiring to talk about this and that and this and that that's happened in the past, because we're just right now. So again, I'm going to do my best to make sure everyone has something they can use in everyday life to use their light, observe the dark, and enhance their capabilities through the ascension process. And so I thought it would be what I'm learning from all these calls. Please never stop calling me. Always keep reaching for me, because it helps your neighbor and it helps everybody else. We all grow our light as we get stimulated and collaborate with each other. So the Achilles heel of the dark is us collaborating. Just a simple conversation, just walking by each other, doesn't really matter. As you grow your light, you'll grow someone else's light, and so forth. You can actually see it in the way you've developed your world. There's 50 states in America, et cetera, geographical boundaries, delineation of countries, and so forth. Multiple languages, multiple religions, anything to keep you all apart is been the dark's agenda, and we're going to put an end to that. It's really simple, by the way. So how do you feel about starting that way, Jane?
That sounds beautiful, Q.
Okay. So the first thing I want you to start recognizing, again, this is up to you to know the information I give you or believe it. So believing, again, I believe Zora and Zoré have done a very good job of explaining in past shows that you're either chasing information or you know information through your heart. And redundantly, as I've said, knowing information is the muscle, so to speak, that you're using to bring in more of your light body into physicality. So the best way to look at you here is that you're an unlimited, endless being of light with unbelievable powers that the English language cannot explain to you. You are God. You are source. You are everything. You are absolutely attached to everything. You created everything you see around you. Not one thing you're looking at right now was not created by you. That's true. Now, do you know that information or do you believe that information? That's up to you. You incredible beings of light are so incredibly passionate, so incredibly powerful at the same time. You're not scared of anything. There's nothing that can touch you. And very, very, very naive concurrently, because you don't know the dark, but the dark knows the light. It's real simple. The dark knows the light doesn't know the dark. So this is a unusual space for us. And they capitalize on our naivety and our incredible, massive powers. So our powers in this realm are actually positive for the dark and in some cases, not exclusively, a danger to us because of our unbelievable powers and naivety. So it's not that we're naive exclusively. It's that we're so fantastically fast at creating realities, we can't really see the delineation of timelines the way the dark can and perceives it. So the lower frequency that we're in is a luxury, believe it or not. This planet was a light planet at one time, and so I will regress a little bit from our other shows to make sure we're all on speed. This was a light planet. And again, the light did not create the dark. The light endorses the dark, would be one way to look at it. We reaffirm it exists. This is how powerful we are. So if I say to you, there's purple monsters in your closet, you're so powerful, you believe there's purple monsters in your closet, you can actually create a purple monster in your closet. Now, do you know there's no purple monsters in your closet? Probably use that one too much, but there's a huge difference, because the best way to describe your reality right now is you are in a dream pretending you're you. This is how powerful you are. All your dreams are 100% real. Remember, spirit does not go to sleep. Humans do. Never forget that. Humans go to sleep. Not to say a spirit wouldn't want to rest or recalibrate or reconfigure. Remember this, spirit does not have identity like you understand identity here, i.e. the ego mind, the identifying mind, so to speak. And that's real important for us to start that way, because I'm getting a flavor from all these calls and all these interactions is it gets a little tricky. And to be able to reach everybody and communicate on this topic is a bit tricky in the English language, and it was designed so we couldn't communicate about this subject, what we are, where we are, and how we are. And we're all at different levels. So we have a banker about ready to learn how to meditate. We have a mystic warrior, psychic warrior, reading tarot for people, understand the fabric of. But you're noticing that this game is coming to a head here. It's very interesting for me to see how this is playing out. And guess what? It's exactly the same thing as 2,000 years ago. Little different color, but it's exactly the same thing. So I'm gonna do a quick history lesson, because it's been asked of me to explain to me what is different about 2,000 years ago and now, and what are some of the things we could learn from it. And so here I go, Jane. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. So roughly the ascension cycles on the surface of planet Earth and or this realm of your universe, if you like to use dimension, that's fine. Frequency is what I prefer, because it doesn't have hierarchy, so to speak. So it's your choice what frequency you want to be in. So just because you want to be many people call a 12th dimensional being, as an example, a frequency is still your choice. So spirit has choice if it wants to go low, high, whatever channel it wants to go to, so to speak. Well, remove yourself from the bus ticket you bought or the reason you came here, and now start looking at the frequency you wanted to go explore. There's many people I talk to say, I'm really homesick and I want to get out of here. And there's many people I do one-on-ones with say, God, I love this place. And they're completely awake, and they're using a lot of their light body to do communications and live their life. And I say, what do you like about this place? What do you love about this place? Well, the air is so thick and everything is so slow and lethargic. And this place is awesome. I mean, it's so amazing to have so much dexterity and feeling in a physical body. So the body physically is so good at feeling things that this is very unique to this individual, as an example. Now, others could take it or leave it, say, I want the hell out of here. Anyway, roughly 4,000 years ago, we had an incredible place here as it relates to humanity, in that most of the things you envisioned, you could create in relatively quicker time than here now. So I would say we have maybe 50%, maybe not quite that much capability more then than we do now. And what I mean by that is we were a lot lighter. So you could share space with more than one spirit. You could create realities quite efficiently. And then towards the end of the 2,000-year cycle there, 4,000 years ago, the dark started, and or duality started incrementally sneaking in. So in the last ascension cycle, the duality didn't really start throttling up until the last 100 years, 150 years. Now, what's important about that is, as we look at our epigenetics, our physical, historical recording system, the NATO in our physical bodies, what's important about that is in this ascension cycle, it would look to me, if you ask me what's the biggest difference of then and now, is you guys are all still here. So that's very unique, and many people recognize my frequency because you all were here 2,000 years ago. You missed the ascension cycle, and this is not a negative thing. This is just what's happened here because of the reincarnation wheel that was created here by the dark. And I'm going to be real careful here. I make this mistake quite a bit. The difference between aliens and humans, I really don't want to impose an identity on these beings. Yet we need to maybe standardize the identification of the dark by just being dark. So we're light beings; they're dark beings. So regardless of what type of being they're in, this should become a little bit easier to understand. So why, how, when did this happen isn't really as important as, I'll take that back. The why is what I'm learning about all of us. We don't understand why the dark does this. So that's why I want to give us some solutions today so we can use them in real time. And I ask that everyone get back to me and show me the successes they have and so forth. But essentially, at the end of the last 2,000-year cycle, there was a great race to impose a genetic manipulation program, I'll call it, to make sure that the consciousness, for lack of a better term, I'm not a big fan of that word, the volume of light that could get into a physical body was reduced more and more and more genetically. So remove genetics and look at the dark. They don't really care about the type of genetics. They just care that they have a type of genetics that they can inherit. Okay, it's very, very important that we start becoming aware of that. So the dark, what it's able to do is merge their agenda with a type of being that will accept the light and also reduce its capability as it genetically grows from generation to generation. So now when we look at this ascension cycle, and you look at your history for the last 200 years, look what's happened in your reality. The industrial complex, mass production of technology, mechanics, great goal to build devices like CERN, trying to mimic portal technology. There's a great race here for this last 100 years, last 200 years, to make sure genetically you're modified even greater to accept more dark, or not be able to, more importantly, not be able to identify it. So the dark cannot stay with us, is what I'm saying. And so what they're attempting to do is to manipulate our genetic model to accept more lower consciousness, lower frequency, so to speak. So I haven't read any of this gentleman's books. I maybe heard him talk once or twice, but someone like, I can see the volume of light he's using, but someone like David Icke has it exactly right. And I'm just going to help fill in some of the gaps here. The agenda with these individuals is pure and simple. Is how do we sustain life with light beings while the light beings don't know they're being apprehended? So in this version of humans, as an example, you have a restrictive device called the DNA. So the type of DNA, the volume of DNA, they all come into play. There's many different values that you can impose on DNA, and how the light, as it seats itself into the soul, how it's distributed through your consciousness and or your awareness. So that is what I want us to be very aware of, is now you're at the end of the 2,000 years again, and you're all quite capable of going through the ascension process, but many times you're being misled that the ascension process is exclusively, 100% exclusively up to you and you only. Anything outside yourself, not to say that there aren't great resources and assistance, is always, all ascension is up to the individual, Mr. and Mrs. God, that's you. You are source. Okay? That's it. End of story. You don't have an identity. You have everything, always have, always will, and it sits right under your rib cage right now. And I want to teach you how to use that day in and day out. And I want to show you how the dark works in your timelines, and that's all they want, is to make sure you keep thinking about something in the past. And or the dark only cares that you keep believing another story. Another story. Come on, there's another story. It looks like disclosure is going to go on forever, would be my opinion from 4,000 years ago to now. Hasn't disclosure been happening? Jane, I asked you, haven't we had disclosure since 1492?
Yes.
Haven't we had disclosure since the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Yes.
God, it never gets old. Someone please laugh. That is really funny.
All right, I'll laugh.
I love the Mr. Belushi there. Why are all and by the way, why are all the greats gone? Why is Freddie Mercury gone? Well, he had more light in him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know why are these people? So we can't have too many light beings running around, and they can. And so here's what's fabulous about many of the people who have been terminated here, so to speak, is they could see through the veil because they were basically using more of their light. And I assure you, I want to make sure everyone's aware of this. More and more on my calls every week, more are showing up. So this is really coming forward, everyone. You are the light, and the way to bring more of it into you and sustain it is walking the talk. And here's what it looks like in you, and then we'll get into some more. We'll get into the weeds a little bit on some of this stuff. But at the risk of being redundant, when you go to make a decision and it's exciting and passionate to you, that is your spirit directing your life in a inspirational way in which creates spontaneity and synchronicity. This is what God does. That's what you do. You get excited and you go, I'm going to go to the beach. And you go to the beach, and then when you leave the beach, you go, damn it, I have to go to work. I'm leaving the beach. Okay, that's the difference between mind energy and heart energy. So the emotions that you have that come from your brain are always going to be reactive. And please challenge me on my next words. If I slap you, your emotion is a reaction to me slapping you, as I've said many times. If I call you a name, it's a reaction to the name being called. If I sue you in court, it's a reaction to whatever was done to the person. That is all mind energy. Well, I suppose you could argue that I'm inspired to go destroy the world and sue them all. You could. I guess you could be inspired to do that, couldn't you? That's how powerful you are. Or is that the dark? So you'll see that all those emotions that come from the head and or reactionary, the past, especially history, you'll see that the dark is counting on you not recognizing the delta between your heart initiating, your spirit initiating your next choice. It's perfectly well designed, and now they can build an infrastructure to adapt, enhance, inherit your timelines. So most of your timelines are being manipulated or co-created with the dark, if we live in the Western world at least. So every time you look at the iPad, you are reacting to the past, as an example. And now, here's the conundrum. How do we get educated if we can't network and collaborate on these devices, knowing full well the artificial intelligence, the dark, is watching the whole thing? Pretty good trick, isn't it? Mm-hmm. What do you think, Jane?
I agree.
I got God to use the iPad every day and then talk to each other. This is pretty cool. I can pretty much do whatever I want, i.e. play God. The information I want to be held on to is when we make decisions, it's up to us, God, to create the reality we want. And it's either going to be reactionary or proactive from our heart. Now, here's how the dark works in this type of human. So the human doesn't know that their thoughts are not theirs. They don't know the time. They have a reality. Here's an example. If you were born within the last 100 years, you have inherited all these beliefs. You've inherited the belief about money, success, education, the medical industry, your realm, how big your planet presumably is, the speed in which you travel, distance, everything you were born to in the modern world has been inherited. You've been indoctrinated into a system. And boy, the dark loves it because you can't tell what it was like 4,000 years ago. So nobody gave you a history book, what it was like 4,000, 10,000, 20,000 years ago. And some of that's starting to sneak through now. That's going to be tough for the dark because this very person talking right now knows what's going on, and they're betting that you don't understand it or don't know it. So they know the difference between believing and knowing. So now, after this show, the next couple of weeks, don't put a label on where the combatness might come from, but watch after this show, next couple of weeks, how the dark will combat our natural knowledge center and put doubt and fear into us. Every show we've done, actually, it's happened. So I'm watching a lot of people notice it too. So whether they want to make fun of the lore of Yeshua or Jesus, it doesn't matter. I just want to point out that the dark knows the light doesn't know the dark, and so that's why it's tricky. As an example, doesn't it seem odd that every time we turn around, somebody's talking about satellites going up in the air? Don't you find that as odd, Jane? They used to be a secret. Now everybody wants us to know that they're going up in space. Now, why would that be, Jane? Let's discuss. Why would we care about space all of a sudden?
Well, I think one of the reasons is, there's always word, about overpopulation. So a lot of information is going out that, well, we got to get out of this world and go elsewhere. So that's one. The other thing too is in regards to technology, improvement in technology, everything can be done through a satellite.
Okay. Now that's what you're led to believe, isn't it?
Correct.
So now the planet's not very small, or at least that's what you're told, and or believe or know. Now, why do I need so many satellites? Now, the planet's not that big, so why do I need 88 of them, 1,000? By now, we must just have a river of them out there, don't we?
Probably.
So why do I need now? If the planet is round, now if you follow. If you follow a lot of your legacy navigation tools, let's see, Loran-C, any of the hyperbolic radio transmissions, you can triangulate an antenna and find your place on the planet, right? You got an antenna in Alaska, you got an antenna in Hawaii, you got an antenna in California. You can have 3 signals and you can figure out where you're on the planet. All right. So if I'm a satellite, I really don't, and I'm much higher up, I obviously don't need a tremendous amount of satellites to do the same work, because I obviously can triangulate far easier and far more vastly because of the height of where I'm at, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
Now, I've had a tremendous amount of fun this last several weeks, and probably arguably this year. I have a lot of the secret soldiers coming to me, including secret space folks. And there's one thing they all have in common. What do you think that is?
No, pray tell.
They don't know the shape of the Earth.
Oh.
Now we're going to talk about the dark and the light, but I want to look at how we do hyperspace travel and interdimensional travel. They're completely different. And it's one of the technologies that's been hidden from you, because if you knew how it worked, the game would be up. So remember, God is dreaming its identity right now. Never forget that. Okay, so a fraction of God, portion of God, which is just as powerful when there's a billion portions of God as in one little hair of God. There's no difference between its power. It's unlimited. Never forget that. In any event, don't you find it interesting on all these shows and all of the years of what we're calling conspiracy and disclosure? What are a couple individuals in our industrial development that do not come on our airwaves? Who are they? You want to guess?
Well, I could guess, but no, go ahead and answer for us.
Come on. It's a time filler. It's a time filler. I'm getting good at this radio thing.
Well, we don't see the aliens, right?
Okay, so there's two folks that don't come and talk to you. There's more, but there's a couple folks that want to talk to you, but they can't, or else the hand that feeds will bite. Notice you don't see any airline pilots chalking on our disclosure shows, on our collaboration shows, whatever you want to call it. Anybody know why?
And why
do you think that is, Jay?
They were paid?
Because their windows are flat. I'm being facetious. But the passengers in the plane, their windows are opaque. They're rounded, aren't they?
Well, they are.
Well, yeah. And of course, I have several friends over at Boeing that say, oh, yeah, we need that for the differential pressure and keeping the pressurization correct, and they contract and expand and so forth. And I go, okay, great. So the tube that I'm flying in, it changes pressure differential because I go 30,000 feet in the air. Okay, anyway. So you don't hear pilots talking on our disclosure dialogue, do they? Nothing.
Correct. Right.
Okay. Now, who else doesn't come chit-chatting with us? Well, there is a lot of these folks on this planet, and I mean a lot. And they are people who drive submarines. Now, Jane, why do we have so many submarines on this planet? There's nuclear submarines, there's fast attack submarines, there's boomers. everybody seems to have a lot of submarines, don't they?
They do.
Now, do we know this or do we believe it?
We believe it.
I
think we kind of know it.
That's right. So
Rumors.
everything I say, say in return. Do we know it or do we believe it? Just because we've seen a submarine, we don't really know what it's doing or where it's going, do we?
Correct.
We don't know how many there are. Nobody's going to tell us, are they?
Not really.
Now, how come we have so many submarines, Jane? Is there this underwater war somewhere? And by the way, they're always away, aren't they?
Yes.
Where are they going, Jane?
But I think this is still like a story about wars, one country against another, or perhaps, the fear that someone is going to blast somebody. And so we want to be prepared. And so that's why they have their submarines.
Yeah, but let's cut the bullshit, right?
Okay.
I've got a satellite over your country anyway, and it comes by every 37 seconds because I got a couple hundred of them up there now. I know exactly what you're doing. And by the way, I can see inside your building with infrared, and I already have a computer in your house. I can hear everything you're saying because everybody's carrying an iPad, et cetera, et cetera. I've got smart meters over. There's not one word that's being missed on planet Earth right now. If you have any form of electronics around you, again, I ask, why do you have so many submarines?
That's an excellent question. So what's the answer? Okay.
These are questions for the audience.
Oh, okay. Everybody listen.
By the end of the story today, we'll be able to either assess our knowledge and adopt it or dismiss it. That's where we're going. Okay. So now, if I can sell you a story and get you to believe it, this story could go on quite a while. It could go on 2,000 years, couldn't it?
Wow.
You're telling me there's another country, another body of land? I thought the world was flat. Wow. Oh my gosh, it's not flat. There's another world over there. Yeah, we have to go take it over because there's some really spiritually individuals that are called Native Americans. We have to get rid of them. They believe in this force called Source. And they do rain dances and they make the vegetables grow and they're one with the earth. They're crazy people. They wear skirts and beads. And they look at us like we're the crazy ones. We're not the crazy ones. We have guns and ammunition, and we're sophisticated. We have castles, etc. Now I'm getting off the subject, of course, but as you can see, the dark doesn't lose its tenure just because we recycle every 100 years. So if you live 100 years, the dark is still here. Same individuals. That's where we see they don't have an evolution like us. And they cannot survive. The dark cannot survive unless you believe they exist. So this entire ascension cycle, till now, your modern medical industry and so forth has been designed exclusively to make sure a human being and others, a human being can receive more darkness. So in many of the underground bases, many of the genetic manipulation resources here that are from the dark, that are hidden from you, are exclusively designed to make it even easier. The next ascension cycle, which is upon you right now, is even more dramatically able to receive the dark. So you can actually use your COVID experience as a perfect example of that. So you're in a petri dish in a genetic, and so obviously everyone's figured that out. This is a biological weapon, biological war, but the root cause of it is to now, as we come through the ascension cycle, we can get a genetic fix to these individuals receiving too much light in them. And that should also show you how subtle ascension is. It's right before your very nose. The other universes, The other individuals, the people who are rooting for you, the individuals, the other light beings of the other planets and other universes, they are right under your nose right now. They're far closer than you're aware of. They're very close. And they're counting on you to figure this out. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so let me digress a little bit. A typical experience for a light being is to go experience, and this is a gross generalization, a typical light being goes out and says, I want to go experience, remember, all your knowledge is inside you right now. There's not one piece of knowledge in the universe you don't have in your heart right now. Everything. The only thing that's missing from source and knowledge is the experience of the knowledge. So most individuals do not go back to source when they leave their body and or take their body with them, because you are the master creators of knowledge. So and by the way, you prefer being out in the multiverse versus going back to source, because there's so much unbelievable vastness to experience. Plus, you're the one creating the knowledge for all of us. It should make a lot of sense by now, is you're out here doing what you're calling work, and I say, no, you're just experiencing the knowledge you already have, which creates more knowledge. You all listening to me, you're all knowledge experience creators. Massive experience knowledge creators for all of us. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Takes a whole nother meeting when you go stand in line at the post office, huh?
This is amazing. Thank you.
So why and how it works, we get caught up in the weeds a little bit. But here's something you will know. It's happening very fast now. You are a light being. You are in a glass of water expressing yourself in a physical being, in a frequency that's designed to create a frequency match for your choices, your decisions. Are your decisions going to be your highest excitement, your passion, your inspiration? Or are you going to do it because you've made an obligation to yourself through your head? I have to do it this way because I have to do it this way, because last time I did it that way, it didn't work, and then et cetera, et cetera. The dark is capitalizing on you, not recognizing the emotional bodies that are specifically unique to the dark and specifically unique to the light. Did that come across okay?
Maybe you could explain that a little further.
When you make a choice, you've made a choice to listen to me today. Are you excited about it, or did your wife make you? Jane, did you take this show on today because you're excited about it, or you made a commitment 3 weeks ago when you were excited and now you're not kind of excited, you're just like, I have to do it? What's the difference?
Well, I was excited then and I'm excited now, especially now because you're here.
Okay, you're not a good example because you use more of your light. Can you just play with me a little bit? Be a little
sure,
off?
Of course. Oh, okay, all right.
You see the difference? All I'm
yes,
saying
I do.
You see the difference.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Of course.
Very good. Now everyone's hanging up on us. Okay. All your wisdom systems have been deleted from you or governed, and you're getting them back. Okay? All your universal knowledge has been constrained or limited. You have inherited everything. Now just erase it, and the compass that you use is excitement. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And even I'm tired of talking about it. But the more and more I get with people, we're waffling back and forth. So some people go, gosh, this stuff really works. I command my spirit to increase my life force energy. And tomorrow I'm going to go kill it. Yeah. And I got to go fight with my boss. Okay. So
That's
true.
true.
And then they go take a cruise and they go, this is easy. I got to go make some more money so I can be enlightened. That's how good the dark is. the all money for me is dark. It's black magic, and most of it was created off planet, believe it or not, different realm at least at a minimum, and it's perfectly well done. And so even your RV is very exciting for the dark and very exciting for the light. So when you look at a conscious computer, as an example, you can see the volume of light that's being used by each individual. So now, as an example, that's how I know how people can see the veil one way or another. We'll use David Icke as an example. So he can see the time continuums and how they play with our timelines, as an example. And all of us have that ability eventually, if not now, to see the volume of light a specific person is using or a volume of people are using. In fact, many off-planet individuals who observe us, they can measure where we are in our consciousness and decide to play with us or not. And we know the answer to that. That place is dangerous. So that's the short version. I have a lot of dialogue about that, but especially my conversations with the Galactic Federation. Not everybody's as patient as I am. It would seem. In any event, I really want us to start looking at the intrinsic layers, the galactic layers, and then the hidden layers. And so, forgive me if this is redundant information. Stop me if you need to, Jane, but I'm going to go do a deep dive how the intrinsic layers work, the galactic layers work, and hidden layers work, not necessarily in that order. Is that okay?
Oh, of course.
Okay. So if you just start genetically, the manipulation, it's not really important who did it, and I know exactly who did it. I know all of them, and we'll get into that in another show. The genetic manipulation here was exclusively designed for the pretense we talked about. How much light can I get into this vessel without it knowing it's in there and receiving more dark? So now when we look at our intrinsic level of individuals creating timelines, we might look at some nefarious individuals. Well, let's just pick maybe everybody from a Ted Bundy to a George Bush Sr. You did not just compare Ted Bundy to George Bush. Oh yeah, I did. No problem. I got no problem with that. Okay, so those are both genetic individuals, genetic examples, of the dark being able to grab more of that silo and or displace the silo of light that's in it genetically. So that not only is the type of genetics and the type of DNA important, it also has to have a relationship with the Merkaba of the light and the type of darkness that is coming into an individual. So you can actually see that many of these, so we use those two individuals as our example, they don't have an emotional conscious attached to them. They only have the timelines in which construct the universe they want. So they don't have any guilt and doubt about why they're doing things, and they don't have any compassion. They have less light in them. I hope that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So when you displace that light, you're also displacing the ability to come and go and your primary decision-making in light or your primary decision-making in the brain. So obviously with those two individuals, they've used their brain to execute darkness. So one liked to go and pursue women and abduct them his entire life. And the other wanted to create wars and destruction and massive amounts of duality while being a control freak as well, and control money and everything else in the development of the modern Western world. They both have one thing in common, though. They're using emotions. They get great excitement, great power from the emotions from lust, power, fear, things that do not come from source. Okay, so this is why they do it, because they can't stay with us unless they have a place to live. So we are their host. They need us. Okay, so that is a very broad summary.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exclusive to everyone. It is a summary of why the dark does what it does in its relationship to you day in and day out. So what they've done is they've invented a mind that is very powerful at receiving and transmitting. So this is the battle of the minds. That's what this planet is called, the battle of the minds, when you're not in this planet. Everyone is courting each other. Everyone is chasing something everybody wants something here, and they can't find it. That's exactly mind control. Okay. I'll take a quick breath here. Now,
Please.
what does that look like as it relates to our intrinsic life is the best I'm going to do to explain that. So now you can see everything's been inherited here.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can control, and by the way, I made the mind, so I know how much volume of light they can actually perceive, but I can't control it. So the only way to control us is by installing another belief. I don't know how many times they're going to change the shape of the Corvette, but it's still a car and it still runs on combustion fuels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're running out of toys for the Neanderthals to play with. You can only make so many cars shaped the same shape and still call it new. Okay, mm-hmm. So that's a good example of intrinsically how the dark keeps a carrot in front of you, and now you can equate which direction you might want to go. Remember, they're always I'd say a good number would be about 100 years ahead of us. They're always 100 years ahead of us. By the way, by the end of this show, there is an easy solution to solve all this. So as we continue on in life, we need to give you something, a belief system that continues kicking the can down the road. All right. So if we got money, we got you, no problem. That's a good thing. As I said before, the RV is very valuable for the light and very valuable for the dark, and I will talk about that. Now, the other interesting opportunity we have to check my words are related to COVID. So COVID does look like an extermination event. It looks like a lot of things. We get to track and trace you. We get to give you a fancy identification card that says you've got the shot or you haven't, et cetera. But COVID, for the other realms, as I stay on topic here, between the three levels, intrinsic, galactic, and hidden, the real agenda is to observe the volume of individuals that will believe there's such a thing, or the volume of individuals who will know there's no such thing. Now, as it relates to COVID, how successful were they, Jane?
They lost.
Okay. Now, look at it from their point of view. Here's how the dark. They lost in what respect, in your eyes?
Well, so many have gotten so sick. So many have already perished or ascended. So, and it's been really terrible or horrendous in terms of what they've done to families and loss of jobs. And it's just completely destroyed the world in many ways, economically and emotionally and physically and relationship wise. That's a lot.
Okay, very good. And so now it's safe to say that everything you said is something intrinsic we can see, taste, touch, and feel, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's the intrinsic level. The mess intrinsically, what you described. And they lost in your eyes because we identified the issues. We're starting to wake up to it, correct?
Correct.
Now, the dark, remember there's three topics here. intrinsic, galactic, and hidden layers
Mm-hmm.
on and off the Earth plane. So the hidden layers are very important because they don't really care about your little COVID at all. They care how many people they could get to believe there is a disease. They don't even care about the disease. Okay. Now, I have no problem discussing any alien dark topics because I've talked to them many, many times and I have regular communications. And here is their position on COVID. It doesn't matter because guess how many people I got to put a mask on? How many? And now all the people that didn't believe in COVID, they still got to believe there was something there and it was still affecting their life some way, whether it's travel, workplace, putting a mask on, going out to dinner, going to work and having to do things remotely working. How many people bought into COVID that didn't buy into COVID that actually had to do something in relation to COVID? Now look at it from that point of view.
That's true.
Did it affect you when you went to the grocery store?
Of course. You have to wear a mask if you want to.
You had to wear a mask. Of course. And I didn't. I had fun with that one. And probably.
Well, we won't go there.
It's so fun. It's so fun. Yeah. I still want that photograph. But anyway, this is what's really fun now, because now you can see that layer is way above the intrinsics, isn't it?
Correct.
So how many people believe there is COVID now changes its color, because it's really more about how many people will believe there's something out there. In a very minuscule doubt and fear, that's still all they need, because you worried about putting the mask on before you went to the grocery store. That's all the dark wants, is you to have to do something you don't want to do. Perfect,
amazing.
Isn't it?
Absolutely perfect.
Remember, they invented the brain. Okay. Which leads me to one of my favorite topics. You can take this to the bank, everyone. The dinosaurs were exterminated. Okay. The reason they were exterminated is because they had a pea brain. They were too intelligent. They used their heart. Okay. Now, all the paleontologists are starting to figure it out, because they're finding that they all died of a very similar byproduct. I'll call it that. I'll let someone else be the spoiler. Notice a lot of paleontologists are finding big, huge piles of dinosaurs in one big vat, one big hole, one big area of the planet. Alaska's a great one. Looks like they're running from something before they died, huh? They were all hiding somewhere, weren't they?
Yes.
Every single type of dinosaur, not just a couple, just a type of dinosaur. All of them went to crevasses. They all went. And so I can easily speak to this, the extermination of dinosaurs, because they were too intelligent, far too intelligent. The term, he has a bird brain. Look how beautifully perfect birds are. Again, look how fish all know how to stay in a school. Look at how the whales communicate. Look at how all the animals. What if you had a planet full of elephants? Try and lie to an elephant. It's memories too. They live too long. They have way too much memory. They have way too much heart. That's what we're supposed to be like, is just like an elephant, and being very affectionate and loving and very, very, of course, family oriented. That would be a nat. So imagine if you had a bunch of dinosaurs acting like elephants. It's going to be pretty hard to control them, isn't it? Anyway, that was just a fun part of the show.
That's good.
Keep the kids entertained, and definitely don't want to. I want to make sure the parents do their discernment with my information and work things out with their children too. So I'm offering information because I truly have been here before as a light being, and I'm here again. And I don't need any accreditation. I don't need any attaboys. I'm exactly like you. I just come and go into the multiverse on ascension cycles.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, Q. So they were exterminated because they couldn't use them.
They were too intelligent. You couldn't control them.
Okay.
So a lot of individuals who are getting their memories back I call it that, just you're getting your knowledge back. There's a tremendous amount of folks here that used to be a dinosaur. Don't they look familiar to you? Did you ever, if you've ever looked at a dinosaur, I know that's a tough one for some of our imagination. If you look at a dinosaur, they all had really big, meaningful, loving eyes. The
Yes.
aquatic creatures, they all had notice all their eye sockets. And that was one of the ways they interpreted communication, just like we do. The soul is in the eyes. And so they could see the multi dimensions. They could see the frequency bands of everything. And that's exactly what's happening to us. We're starting to see all the frequency bands. Mm-hmm. So that's the entertainment section of the show, apparently.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Anyway, let's get back to our 3 layers of intrinsic layers, galactic layers, and hidden layers on and off the Earth plane. The opportunities for the dark to work at all 3 of these levels is staggered, believe it or not. So as we look at our relationship galactically, it's very, very difficult for the dark to travel unless it has a host. So I've said before that one of the greatest currencies in the universe will always be genetics. So there's many individuals come to me who've participated in the breeder program. They get abducted out of their bedroom, obviously a lot of women, a lot of men, and they just want genetic samples so they can distribute it around the world, the universe, and the world for that matter, and multiverse. And the reason for it is we are very unique in that you can grow us both ways. And I'm talking genetics now, not spirit. So genetically, a mammalian is very adaptable. So I can make a very dark mammalian. I can make a very light mammalian. Either way, to us as spirit, it just looks like a frequency band of our next choice. So if you want to go be a butterfly, you can go be a butterfly. If you want to go be an angry George Bush, you can go be it. So there's a lot of choices we have. The one choice you don't have on planet Earth is you didn't expect not to be able to leave. So everything here is your choice. Not one thing is not your choice, except that you don't have a choice of leaving because you keep getting tricked in the karmic wheel of, or what I'm calling the recycling center. And so that's why many people are saying to me over the years now on these calls, I am homesick. Well, it's not that you're homesick, you're just tired of being here. And that's the short version, obviously, because everybody's got a different degree. But the reason that I wanted us to pay attention to the galactic layers, the intrinsic layers, and the hidden layers is because the hidden layers are puppeteering your intrinsic layers. And so the game is much bigger than your cabal, your Soroses of the world, your George Bushes of the world, the Rockefellers. If I hear the Rockefeller name one more time, I'm going to blow myself up. It's just, you see, the distraction for the dark, as long as there's a distraction and an identity, they want you to have identifiers. He did it, they did it, she did it. Anything to do with the past prolongs the dark's life. So, as I said, the way we're going now, disclosure is going to happen another 2,000 years the way we're going, because we keep processing information that's presented to us and then believing it without knowing it. Here's what you should know. You know everything, and you can create everything. That's how unbelievably powerful you are. You can create this reality that you're looking at, and by the way, you did. So that is my short talk. That's my short talk about the dark. I look forward to questions about that in the future. The point I want to carry through is the hidden layers have to stay in our realm, and they're relying on the intrinsic layers to sustain them. So that's why you see a lot of these nefarious individuals. They pray to, what is it, a dark totem. So I'm going to see if I can find one in my memory bank. Marduk or
Right.
flying bat person. It doesn't really matter, because the dark considers the hidden darkness as superior to them, because they do have a lot of powers. And you can make a very powerful dark being with 4, 5, 6 strands of DNA and it not have any light in it. And they have superpowers. And that's what I want us all to be aware of. What if the intrinsic group whipped out a super god overnight? What would we believe? What would we believe?
That's a good question.
This person can walk on water, by the way. This person can materialize anything with thought. Well, the first thing you do is run down to the store and get yourself a microchip, because that's how you do it, right? You can have your own Google page in real world. So that is the key agenda here, is to get more dark here, and the way to do it is to manipulate more of our genetics, right? And that being said, it's because they're terrified of us. They're absolutely terrified we're going to figure this out. Deep breath, huh?
Have we figured that one out now? Because of you. I think we have, right?
We're gonna see real quick here, aren't we?
I think we have.
We're gonna see.
We just have to do it. Okay.
Right. Okay. So now our favorite topic of the current few years is satellites and the reevaluation of money. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's go with the money.
Okay, the money. Okay, so money. The bad guys and good guys both like this RV. They really like it. Yes, it's in your United States Constitution. Yes, it is a real bill to have. Let's say the American version is NASARA. Real bills. Now. These things were created by the light and the dark, believe it or not, because the dark is fabulously excited about you getting new money. Still money. I can still control it. You still have a means of exchange. You are using a tool outside yourself to create. Okay, so they don't really care about any of your happiness or status. They just want you. They just want emotions, positive or negative, doesn't really matter. As long as you're playing the game, that's all they care about, not using your heart. Okay, I'll give you an example. Many people come to me and say, I have a great idea. I'm going to save the world with this item right here. So what is it that you love to do? I just love the idea of giving everybody a brand new car. Building them a house, whatever. Okay, and so you love building cars. Oh, no. I hate building cars. No, I just want everyone to have transportation. Okay, so what's your passion? Making sure everybody has transportation is my passion. Okay, so what are you going to do when you wake up in the morning regarding transportation for everyone? You're going to build them something, right? So they have transportation. Oh, no, I'm going to pay someone to do that. That's not work for me. No, I'm a manager. I'm an administrator. I definitely don't build homes. I just get the money to go do it. See how the dark works? Your passion was not to build the vehicle. Your passion was the idea of helping people. Interesting, isn't it? How subtle is that? See, that's really noble. That's really great. But you're still not creating from your heart. You're creating an idea based on the past. People don't have transportation in this case, right? So you're reacting to a symptom of the dark. Does that make sense?
Wow. That is
pretty tricky, isn't it? Pretty tricky.
Super tricky.
Okay. So in contrary to that, you have someone who wakes up in the morning and just starts digging ore out of the ground saying, I'm going to build me the fastest motorcycle in the world, and I'm going to build my metal first, and then I'm going to assemble it. And you see where I'm going. So it gets a little redundant there, but there's a huge difference between being passionate in your creative force, which is all in you, which is limited because of the frequency you're in this dimension. I do not like the word dimension, but so the energetics that are here aren't as powerful as you're used to at higher frequency, so to speak. So things appear to take longer, but they're still driven by you. So when you have a great passion to learn how to knit, as an example, you eventually learn how to knit, as an example, because you're so passionate about it. Does that make sense? And yes. It's the dexterity in which you need to knit, and or the sheep that you had to raise to get the wool. All of that passion about that is our true way we manifest, for lack of a better term, our creativity, because we're so excited to do it. I hope that helps in our conversation here today.
I think that if we just talk a little bit more about just what you stated in regards to the example that you gave. So in the end, the person that really wanted to be able to help people, by what is that? Paying someone to be able to build the cars to give to everyone, or getting the transportation and paying someone again. So you're still working with the dark is really what you're trying to say. So get away from the dark completely, because that's really about what you thought about, in the past. You got to kind of do it by hand. So it's really about working on yourself.
Yeah. And by no means does this have to do with vehicles. This has to do with, okay, what am I excited to do right now? So everything that we have inherited from yesterday is in our reality today. Okay, no problem. But every day it is our choice to start making our decisions as from our knowledge center. And the more we make decisions from our knowledge center, the dark cannot keep up with us. They don't even have a chance. That is what ascension is, everyone. Yes, the calibration and reconfiguration of your realm will happen where you will see some things, but everything will come and reconfigure and recalibrate. So you can't point your finger to the sun recalibrating, configuring, because it flashes. Everything will. You are not able to see the delta between the two. Everything will, not just the sun. So that's my great encouragement, is if the more we use our muscle memory from our heart, our excitement, our inspiration, our love and passion, anything in relationship to those emotions is our natural state of being, or in peace. We're either in peace energy or creative. I hope that helps.
Well, I think, so when you say, when the person says, I love going and helping everyone get a car, his intention is to be able to help, right? So that intention is of the light. However, when it's about the car, paying somebody, using money to be able to do that, that's when you get into that hidden layer of they're still going to be able to be in control of you.
Right. So we've right. And so that's what I'm doing my best to say is we've inherited presumed knowledge. Our science community, our medical industry, we've presumed to be taught knowledge when it's actually beliefs. Does that make sense?
But the knowledge is really about believing, is the belief that we've inherited, right?
Right. So we've displaced knowledge with chasing information that we're learning about from something else, somewhere else, something outside of ourselves. So as a quick exercise, so you can take something with you for today, ask yourself in the mirror, as you've probably heard me say, something very unique to you or not unique to you. It doesn't really matter. And exercise by asking yourself questions you are examining or exploring. Do I love Kansas City, as an example? In your heart, say it out loud, say it in the mirror, and watch your heart do something. So a lot of time I will get people to do breath work and say out loud, I command my spirit to increase my life force energy now, and go to the mirror and ask yourself, and this is just, training wheels, if you will. Go to the mirror and say, I love Kansas City. I love being there. That's the greatest place on earth. And then, of course, it will be a yes or a no for you. And it will come directly from the heart. Now, do something contrary. I love petting puppy dogs. Love it, love it, love it. What does your heart tell you? Okay. When you do exercises like that, now apply it to your real life, day in and day out events. I love, fill in the gap, and ask yourself, do I really love it? Make sure it's out loud. Or is it something I have to do because I have an obligation? So one of my favorite holidays, of course, is Thanksgiving, so that I can come around and drink too much and swear at my relatives. And so I find that very, very inspirational. That's not funny at all? Not even close.
It is. It's funny.
Okay.
It is.
Okay. What I know you guys don't celebrate Thanksgiving in the Philippines. I know. Okay. Whatever. I thought that was one American trait that might have jumped over there after we manipulated your society.
It's in the whole world. We all do that. I was still thinking about something else. I see. I was thinking about yes.
Right. And so, again, my topic here is about how we work with everything outside of ourselves. Is it inspirational or is it reactionary? And that's why the RV I'm so passionate about is it has just as much opportunity for the dark as it does the light. So that's my
okay. So
that's my infomercial for today on that topic.
Well, I just one more thing since we're talking about the RV.
Okay. See you later. Have a good day. Just kidding.
All right. So everybody that has, the certificates from, Loved One Society, or we have the RV with, all the other different people, and we are the spiritual people, and we already know that we have to have, well, not we have to have, but we have projects that we want to be able to have help lots of people, right? So if I wanted to be able to go and build a rescue, place so that I want to be able to rescue all of the cats and the dogs or whatever, and I don't want them to suffer, I'm going to start building it. I'm going to pay someone to be able to build the place, and I've got I know all of the designs that I want and put that all in place. And if that's coming from my heart, then it's okay, right? Even though I have to pay someone to do all of the work and getting the employees, etc.
Yeah, right. So for the ease of communication, I'm just using some shortcuts here, but certainly you need help to build a large lodge, as an example, of course.
Right.
So so it's not up to me to tell you what, why, and how, and micromanage every single inspiration and thought that you have. All Correct. I'm saying is that muscle memory and or that excitement is the part that's going to teach you.
Okay, got it.
It's going to make you aware that there are. Okay, so what I'm noticing with the thousands and thousands of people who've called me over the years now is they stay with it for a while and then they get back into society and lose it and lose it again. So a lot of times I ask people if they can afford a week out in country and just leave their phone at home and see how their decision making is made and what are the results. Do they feel better or do they not? Okay. And what do you suppose the unanimous response is that I get?
I don't know.
Everyone is at peace.
Good.
Everyone comes out of there at peace and say, okay, how do I bring it back into society? And I say, so you like going back to work at the bank? Oh no, I hate it, but it pays her. Okay, so why do you do it? Mm-hmm. Because I have to. Because I have to. Because I have to.
Okay.
I have to.
Okay.
Anyway, if we quit using money, we would quit using money, wouldn't we?
Correct.
Okay, so what's the solution for it? What does our heart tell us?
We have to find other solutions.
What if everybody at the count of 3 quit paying their mortgage? Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, done. None. No more.
That's right. It's gone.
There'd be no banks, would there?
Correct.
Okay, so hurry up. Okay.
So,
and then We can use seashells for money now.
All right. I think
Easier said than done, huh?
Yes. I think we got it now. I think we can get to the next layer.
Okay, next layer.
Sorry about that, Q, but thank you for explaining that further.
Yes, that's why we have talk show hosts, so people just don't babble aimlessly, of course.
No. No, we love you. We love everything that you're saying. So back to the galactic layer, you haven't even touched on that.
That's right. Maybe intentionally, huh?
I don't know. Was it intentional?
All right. So when you look at the other realms of the universe, other frequencies, and these frequencies are aware of you, by the way, that what I just said is you are aware of you. So what you are, again, is God touching God, saying, who's touching me? That's all. I'll steal that one from Bashar and the rest of the gang. You are touching you, wondering who's touching you. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's all Source is the experience. Now, if you're at another frequency, why would you want to come down, for lack of a better definition, why would you want to come to a planet that is full of duality? Why would you want to do that? When God, Source, is already there, fully capable of taking on duality and or the dark. Does that make a little more sense?
Yes.
Okay, so if you wanted to, first of all, the reason the aliens aren't landing is because they beat you here, okay? And then they created you, and then they got you to come into your physical body, okay? That's all. That's it in the short version. So the dark got here before you jumped in the body, and now you're having this experience in this frequency, the frequency being this type of human. So your dimension is dictated by the type of human you're in.
Yes.
Because that's what you believe. So you can, because you can be so much more endlessly. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So galactically, what this looks like is, I'm going to see if I can make some humor. All right. What's taking them so long?
Yes, that's true.
I don't know. We sent the hotshots down. I mean, we got the Kennedys. I mean, they're ass kickers. The Kennedys are all killed. So what are we going to, okay, don't worry. We got other hotshots. All right, fine. Who else we got? Well, we got Prince. Prince, he's a musician. He can get her done. He's going to spread frequency. Okay. Whoa. They took out our hotshot Prince. What's going on? All right. Anyway, that's what it kind of looks like at the galactic level is we're the ones doing the work. It's all up to us because we chose to be here, but we did not choose to get stuck here. And that's why I'm suggesting that you can make this world an incredible place through your decisions, and the veil that you all are talking about is right under your nose, and you're not going to tell the difference except from your choices. So heaven on earth happens by each and every one of us. So believe it or not, the door behind you, there is nothing there. There is absolutely nothing there until you open it. That's how powerful you are and how fast you are at creating. And the dark knows you don't know it. They install another belief in you. So anyway, I hope that answered the galactic relationship, because most individuals outside this frequency are not going to participate and if they are going to, they are going to be here with you. There's only one way to know what's going on here, and that's to actually do it. And so many people go, hey, how come you don't fix this? And I say, I ask you the same thing. These are your decisions. We're all participating together. Why did you make that choice to have air that we can't breathe? Well, I didn't do it. I'm just breathing it. No, we all did it at some level.
Yes. Okay.
So in any event, I hope that clears that up. The Galactic Federation isn't come to help you. It is supporting you and assisting you whenever and however it can. It's got the experts here already. Look, you have Zora and Zored. We all
Well,
know our relationship with the galaxy. We all know it when we're not here. And just know through your heart that a lot of folks are really rooting for us, and they're right under your nose. They're really close to you, and they're here to support you and assist you. And I'm living proof. My love to you.
yes, you are. And we're so grateful.
All right, let's get on to some fun stuff, huh?
That was a lot of information, too. That was so
Well,
much
you said,
too.
well, you finally let me run the show. So, I mean,
Oh, thank you.
golly.
This is your show. All right. I'll keep quiet.
Okay. So, no, I prefer you pulling on me. So the short version here is how we're different between the last ascension cycle and now is we got even more in brain energy than we were mind energy than we were before. So, again, when I'm working with people who have gone through incredible experiences and the result is PTSD, that's actually engineered in this type of human. Okay. So all stress disorders that are still in your epigenetic recording system is also the stepping stone for the dark to make another human that's just as traumatized and even meaner and more dark. Does that make sense? So you're actually starting to see where some of the cloning activity is turning that way. I'm going to be very careful not to name a type of human here, but there is one country that has never, every country on this planet has called me and said, hello, Q, et cetera, et cetera. There is one country where I have not received one phone call. What country do you think that is? So I'm not guilty of naming it.
What country is that?
It's a big one. All right. So we don't want to call names. We don't want to feed the dark, right? We don't want to.
Right.
But I assure you, there's one country where you're seeing the glimpses of what they're going for as far as creating a perfect genetic dark machine, and they all get A's on the college tests. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, I think we know what that is. Right.
They all are installed information in their epigenetics so that they will come to the forefront in your education system. So you'll notice you can do whatever you want, but as long as it's not me. I asked, I didn't tell.
It sounds like China.
Okay, so if you could take a human, and this is going to make us great friends over there, of course, but if you can corral the ones that are waking up, Tiananmen Square is a great example. If you could corral those and sort them, that's what you're actually seeing on the entire planet at some level, is people who only use their mind in their formal and informal decision-making process. So this is easily solved. Please do not get down. This is very positive information. I just want you to see the difference between maybe your neighbor, maybe your friend, maybe coworkers. Look how they make decisions and look how you make decisions, and you be the judge. You decide if inspiration, joy, and excitement comes from people who use their mind exclusively to execute life. That's all I'm asking, and that is your opportunity as well. More fun, Jane.
Well, I think it's a great lesson for all of us to know that, because we have much work to do.
Okay.
Especially when we're talking about friends and families and cohorts, etc.
That's right. How much time do we have, by the way?
You have just about almost 25 minutes.
25 minutes.
Oh,
okay,
no, 20 minutes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, let's do a little more fun. Why don't we do some questions regarding disclosure? How about that? About what we are, where we are, and how we are.
Oh, that's a good one.
Should we? Should we have a little entertainment?
Yeah, let's
entertainment.
do that.
Okay, very good. All right. So we We all love our little iPads and iPhones and our computers, and of course that's the invention of the dark. So you get to use the artificial intelligence, the tools. See, the AI is really good at just being patient. Remember, it doesn't die. It just keeps rolling and rolling. It just goes, I wonder what they're going to do next. Well, let's get them to make videos of themselves on YouTube. Then we'll know exactly what they're doing. And then we'll get them all talking to each other on their webpage and their emails. This is great. They still don't know how to build a pyramid. I can't even believe it. So we were all very smart at one time, or we're now very stupid because nobody knows how to build a pyramid. Okay. And so quite clearly the game is up, and I'm tired of the game. And I feel everybody else is tired too. There's a couple people on the planet that are swaying with their consciousness. They've been a dark individual. So George Bush is an example. There's a couple of these folks out there that have been nefariously bad, and they know some things, and it's not sitting well with them. Here's what some of the dark has been made aware of. We're their only hope, and they know it. We can potentially save them from their destruction, from their demise, and they know it. And they can't live with us, and they can't live without us. So this consciousness that the dark has only can go a certain level of frequency. That's why when you see people talking about, well, once I get to the fifth dimension, I won't have any problems. I'm like, okay, so the dark really wants to figure out how to carry on with you into the other frequencies. And the tool they use in this case is this type of mammalian. They're rooting. They've never figured it out. They never will. They're rooting on being able to pull on your shirt tail as you go through the ascension cycle. But as you can see, if you make choices with love, compassion, inspiration, and joy, they are dissolved. So they're constantly, eons of time, they're constantly trying to figure out how do they get to the higher realms, because frankly, they don't die. And they've exhausted every option because there's only one way to the light, and that is to be of light, right? Mm-hmm. All right. But we can make a little trouble on the way, can't we? Mm-hmm. What kind of trouble could I make, Jane, on the way? We know we're at the end of the ascension cycle. What kind of trouble could I make? What's coming next? Doesn't it feel like it's awfully quiet out there? Anybody noticing that? What do you think, Jane? Doesn't it feel like something's about to happen?
Yes, it does, actually.
What is it? What do you suppose they got next? What do the good guys got? What do the bad guys got? They're both waiting for each other to shoot, as you can see. Right. Now, what's coming next? What do you feel is coming next?
People are looking for the disclosure.
Disclosure of what? We already know there's aliens. Okay, that's the easy part. So if you go to the webpage forthepeople.space, right. These people did an outstanding job of giving you all the tools you need. These are amazing individuals of light. So we already know there's aliens. Okay, that's disclosed, right? We already know there's technology that's been suppressed for us. Okay, that's out there. What else? What else would disclosure be?
Well, the good guys coming down.
The good guys coming down. Who are these good guys?
We call them the Galactics, I suppose.
Okay, and so the World War I wasn't enough to get them to come down. That wasn't enough.
No.
The World War II, not good enough.
No.
Korean War.
No.
Hostages in Iran.
No.
Vietnam War. Right. That one? Not even that one?
No.
How about polio? Chickenpox?
It was the right time. It was about the timing.
Wait a minute. AIDS isn't enough to get the Galactics to show up.
Correct.
AIDS. Nothing. We can't get AIDS. Even with Magic Johnson on board. Really? Yeah. Come on. Okay.
Right, I think I'm getting the story. I think I'm getting the point.
We're all getting the truth, whether we like it or not.
Correct.
Is my favorite statement from my dear friend John, who's no longer with us. Yet, it should be getting real simple now. What is it about? What is it about not telling us what's going on? Why when I go on these artificial intelligent tracking humanity machines known as a computer, why is it that I don't get access straight to, let's just say, NASA's satellites? I paid for them, right? One way or another.
Mm-hmm.
We all paid for all of everything. Everything on planet Earth is been paid for by us, if taxes are. That's why I say I'm waiting for my secret soldier. Let's say I'm waiting for my my settlement agreement, and I say, well, who cares? It would come from the taxpayers anyway. The money's all it's all rigged. Okay, so what I want to do my best to quit jumping around here is the opportunity for the bad guys has already been set up hundreds and hundreds of years earlier for today. And the good guys know what the bad guys are about to do. And so if I wanted to hinder ascension and get you misdirected, how would I do it? Well, we worked with the disease, we worked with a fake disease, and we got people inoculated, and we got to measure how much they'll actually believe instead of know. They won't take the time out to know something. They will take the time out to believe everything, though, won't they?
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is that? Why is that? How does that work, Jane? Well,
you could tell me. Tell us.
Okay.
Because I seem to be coming up with the wrong answers.
Okay. So if I really want to catch you off guard now, I'd collapse your entire system that I created. So if I created all the beliefs for you, I can take them away from you, can't I? With a new belief, can't I?
Correct.
Well, what would be our favorite belief? So we can't go look at the telescopes that we bought. We can't look at the satellites we bought. We can't use NOAA's information. We can't get on there. We have to go to a third-party Google Maps or something else. So we don't get the information we paid for. We don't get to see what the Hubble telescope can see. And we can't see what the satellites are looking at. Apparently, we need thousands of more, and et cetera, et cetera. So you're starting to see the next opportunity the dark has and the light has at the same time. And it gets real confusing for the light what to do. And it gets easy for the dark to do. What if I could collapse all of your belief systems in one image or one statement? What if everything you've learned overnight was erased because of one image or one conversation? What would that look like on planet Earth? What's the first thing that would happen?
Oh, well, people would be in shock.
You quit going to work, wouldn't you?
Right.
Well, screw this. I'm going to hang out with my kids and family. I'm not doing that because the whole thing's rigged. The whole thing's rigged. So you'll see how the dark has hung on to the rigging so long because they get mileage out of it.
Got it.
And they've gotten us down the road far enough where they can adapt another disclosure belief system so that they can take you another direction. Gosh darn it, look how they've timed it right at the ascension cycle again, just like last time. We're going to burn people on the cross until they get it, right?
Jeez.
All right. I will give you a quick excerpt off of, I rarely do this, but I consider this, again, this is a rescue mission, and some of these beliefs that are already installed, I want us to start knowing whether they're true or not.
Thank you.
If you would go to, let's say, Google Earth. I want you to go to Google Earth today, and I want you to scroll, get a picture of the globe, and I want you to scroll all the way down to the bottom and look at Antarctica. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if I hear another Antarctica story from a caller, again, I'm gonna cut my throat, and because they're starting to trickle information out to you, and it's going all sorts of directions. And the fact that they're trickling information, don't worry about the direction it's coming from, just that it's coming. Okay, so they want you to believe something's down in Antarctica, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you look at Google Maps or any other maps, don't really care which globe, notice it's third party. It's not from NOAA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all of these pretend governance, you're all on notice immediately. Mm-hmm. And you will now disclose what is going on in Antarctica immediately. Mm-hmm. And I will make sure. And if you don't, I will. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you many pieces of information that are out there for you, and I want you to make your own knowledge assessment, not belief assessment. I want to read a quick passage from the Antarctic Treaty. The 12 nations, by the way, when you look on your Google Maps, there's no ice on the North Pole all of a sudden, is there?
Right.
Used to be. Who owns the North Pole, by the way? Russia. I think it's Finland and Canada, and I think they're all three kind of bickering over it. But so we'll all agree there's a place called the North Pole, and we'll all agree there's a place called the South Pole and Antarctic. Mm-hmm. Well, let's start here. The 12 nations listed in the preamble signed the Antarctic Treaty on the 1st of December, 1959, at the Washington, D.C., as a treaty entered into force on the 23rd of June, 1961. The 12 signatories became the original 12 consultative nations. Okay, so now apparently we need 12 nations to own a piece of ice down at the bottom of the planet. Interesting, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Interesting. Do they own it? They don't, do they?
No.
As of April 2010, 17 additional nations, Brazil, Bulgaria, China, Czech Republic, Ecuador, Finland, Germany. Is Germany close to Antarctica, by the way? India, mm-hmm. Italy, Netherlands, Peru, Poland, Republic of Korea, Spain, Sweden. Let's not forget Ukraine and Uruguay. Wow. Have achieved consultative status by ascending to the treaty and by conducting substantial scientific research in Antarctica. I hope I get James Corbett's attention on this one. Russia carries forward the signatory privileges and responsibilities established by the former Soviet Union. Again, if you'd like to look up this is the National Science Foundation. And there's many others that have the Antarctic Treaty. So the words are also telling you anti-Arctic treaty. So ain't Arctic is what this means in the English language to me. Now, you can't have, now what are the rules about being down there? What do you suppose the rules are?
I don't know what the rules are.
You can only do scientific investigation.
Okay.
You can't have any nuclear weapons, and you can't have any military presence. Okay. Now, so let's talk about that. We can have nuclear presence, military, all over the planet, but we can't there. Now, why would that be, Jane? Why not? Wait a minute. We have 12, 7. Let's see how many we got. We got all of a sudden we have 12. Let's see, 12. 29. And we've got 29 countries all getting along down there. I wonder why. They've never got along before. Apparently, wait a minute, let's start over. How come we have so many submarines, Jane?
So everybody wants to go to Antarctica.
Everybody wants to go to Antarctica, do they?
I don't know.
Maybe. Are you sure?
No.
Are you sure?
You could please answer that for us.
Okay. So if I wanted to create a reality in which you created a belief system, and I did it 1,000 years ago, what would I do? What would I do?
What would you do?
I'd make the story before you got to the story. Notice how history
That's
repeats
true.
itself. Notice how
Yes.
history repeats itself, doesn't it?
Interesting. It's finally it's getting through now.
Okay, so the reason history repeats itself and the way in which we're observing is primarily from our epigenetic control system. So not only 4,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, we're all living the exact same life again through the karmic wheel. Does that make sense?
Yes, very much.
Do you have an example of that?
Personally?
Yep.
Well, it's really about cause and effect.
Okay. So we can go and discover America and start a whole nother plantation, can't we?
Correct.
Whole other belief system.
Absolutely.
And God darn it, let's get those guys out of skirts and get them drinking some alcohol and shooting each other. That's what we need. All right. I'll get to the crux of my long-winded story. This is what's published in many of your textbooks and so forth. I'm not going to name this group, but it's very, very, very popular in your government and so forth, this belief. Antarctica is an important geographic location because it is the location of the Earth's south poles. I want to repeat that. Poles, P-O-L-E-S. There are, in fact, 4 different south poles. The geographic south pole, okay, you're killing me on this one. There's a true south, and now we're going to talk about magnetics. I love it. Okay. So geographic South Pole, the inaccessible South Pole. Wait a minute. There's some place we can't get to the South Pole. Hey, Jane, how come you guys don't fly planes around your South Pole? Wouldn't it be faster to go over the South Pole than to go around it? I'm still curious why don't you fly? Okay, I'm tuckered out with the hidden information here. Okay. Everybody deserves all information. By the way, you paid for it. There are, in fact, 4 different South Poles. The geographical South Pole, the inaccessible South Pole, the geomagnetic South Pole, and the magnetic South Pole. Okay, wait a minute. Now I have more than one South Pole that would appear. I have 4 of them. Earth spins around an axis on the geographic South Pole. Okay, which one, please? Is where the axis intersects Earth's crust. Okay. The inaccessible South Pole, also called inaccessible South. Can you explain to me inaccessible? Wait a minute. I have satellites. I have spaceships. I have submarines. I have airplanes. I can fly around the planet in hours. We know we have electromagnetic etheric transportation. Okay. You guys can ask yourself that. The inaccessible South Pole, also called the pole of inaccessibility. So apparently someone stopped you from going to an access point on your planet. Yeah, and apparently we have 29 countries to make sure you don't go to this inaccessible place on your planet. I'm still confused. Is the point at which Antarctica is furthest from the shoreline? In other words, it is the most landlocked location on the continent. Its name is derived from its geographic location and not the actual difficulty in reaching it. The geomagnetic South Pole is where the geomagnetic field intersects the Earth's surface. This is different from the magnetic South Pole because Earth's geomagnetics and magnetic fields do not perfectly align. All right. There's where they're busted. Okay. The magnetic South Pole is where Earth's magnetic fields intersect with the crust. Busted again. The location of the pole is constantly changing due to magnetic drift, which is caused by the constant movement of iron under the crust, shifting the orientation of Earth's magnetic field.
Interesting.
busted again. I will let all the scientists answer and bludgeon me with comments. I'll leave it up to you.
Interesting.
I'll leave it all up to you, everyone. And I will give all 29 countries, all 29 supposed countries, supposed governance. I know what's going on under the world. And so does many other people. We know what's going on underground, and I'm tuckered out. And the reason I'm tuckered out is because I have a lot of people calling me, and I'd love to live in fairyland all day, every day. But it's now my turn, now that I understand what's going on here. Now that I understand what everyone's going through. I do not want to see another person call me who's been abducted by our industrial military complex. It pains me. It kills me. You're getting some animation out of me today because I know we have the power. We are the power. Now, let's make light of this. God, that never gets old. Wow. Jane, not even one giggle.
We never get that old with listening to you, Q. We love you. It's amazing the information that you share with us and the knowledge that we're learning more about what we inherited we thought was just normal for us. So all of this information, everybody, you've got to listen to this like 2 or 3 or 4 times, however many times you need to listen to. You got to listen to this call. It's filled with so much love.
Yeah. So the information I want to give you today is coming exclusively from source. This is how we all typically communicate and function. Is our heart brings in the knowledge, and then we sort it with the brain, extrapolate it, whatever word you like, translate it into a language, and then we communicate it. If we would all use our heart for our primary decision-making process, even with communication, this is the most divine place in the universe. Don't you think?
Beautiful. Thank you. That was excellent. Q Source. We love you so dearly. How about just one last command for all of us before you take off? You have 3 minutes before Don is going to come in. and
right on. Don is certainly my savior. And after me, everyone, we command prime creation to help support us and assist us. Give us more knowledge now. We command prime creation to help us, assist us, give us more knowledge now. We command prime creation to give us more knowledge, assist us right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it will be. My great love to everyone who will listen. My great love to all. Beautiful day. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much. Q Source. And Don, thank you as well. Have a great, beautiful, wonderful day. And now, bye-bye.